Hey, crazy ex-girlfriend fans. On this episode, Rebecca is in her very own Bachelorette story, and all of her friends and family are making a bet on who's going to win. Will it be Nathaniel? Will it be Josh? Or will it be Greg? Stay tuned to find out what we think.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey. It's almost done.
It's almost
Bree.
done. Thank you guys so much for coming in here every week and joining us. We really appreciate having you. I am your host, Briana Phipps, and I am joined by my number one man here from day one, Nino Llanera.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Nino, and I can't believe it. It's almost over. We are so close to the ending, and I thought I was going to get an answer today, but I didn't.
Well, we're going to talk all about it. We're going to be talking about these two dates for sure, and maybe this kind of date,
Right.
this half date that we got in this episode, as well as this huge bet factor that we have going on down at the home run.
Yes.
And we're also going to have some really great news and gossip for you guys, and our special segment where we discuss our songs, as well as the Rebecca Bunch Crazy Meter.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get into some predictions on what we think is going to happen for the last episode.
Oh my gosh, I might just agree with you. I feel like your predictions are coming true.
Maybe I just knew all along.
Maybe you did.
Well, let's get into our overall thoughts on this episode. What did you think?
I really like this episode. It really was. It brought me back to all her love stories in a sense, and that's kind of just how the date went. Also, wait, Josh's date amazing. I thought that was such a clever move for him to bring it back to camp. But I want to know where Nathaniel goes for that overlook, and I know we're going to talk about it. But free concert from the Greek and a beautiful view. I want to know.
Give us the secret.
Give us a secret.
I really enjoyed this episode too. I feel like it really put each guy in the perfect, like, what he is.
Yeah.
And what he does for her. And I love that we're getting the crazy Paula again.
You're right.
I love that she's trying not to, and we're going to get into it, but I love that all of her friends are now kind of taking on that crazy persona of, like, betting on her love life.
And I love that we saw a majority of the supporting cast in this episode.
This was
like
actually
90% of the
it was
supporting cast.
actually, I believe, and we'll talk about that musical episode, but I believe the musical episode that we saw, musical number, the Guys and Dolls version one,
Yes.
is the last full cast
Oh wow.
number.
Oh wow.
I think that was sweet. I'll look it up during the show to make sure that's fact.
That makes me even more
So
sad.
I'll have it for our special segment on whether that's 100% true or if I'm lying there.
I mean, it could be. It very well could be because we literally have like one episode plus a special next.
Well, let's get into it. Let's start off with Josh's date.
Right.
So Josh takes Rebecca back to summer camp, and he has hot dogs on a spit. Actually, before we get right into Josh's date, let's just talk about the rules of the dates.
Okay.
So it has to be within $50.
Right.
And no shirts can be taken off.
Right. So Josh is a known. That's a point off for Josh and a point off for Nathaniel, who probably wants to spend more than $50.
couldn't figure out what we could do to get Greg out of the running.
Which is really funny because Greg is a person who rarely tries, yet he still pulls Rebecca in so much. So maybe that's his thing.
Maybe that's his thing. So but that's the rules for these dates.
Right.
$50 spending limit. Shirt stays on.
For the Rebecca-rette.
I'm surprised we didn't say pants stay on. Shirts stay on, though.
I know.
Okay, so back to Josh's date. So, yes, we have hot dogs over a campfire. He has a tent where he has a little globe thing that makes it look like stars are above them.
Like
because we know in LA we don't see stars very well.
No, you have to go straight out far in the valley for that to happen.
Yeah, so he really recreates this summer camp for her. And what do you think of this date?
We get a lot of information in this date of about how far they went when they were, what was this, like early?
They were probably I think they were like 16.
16, when they were 16 in summer camp, and what happened? It was just
not that uncommon,
It was not that uncommon, but it was just funny to actually hear them actually say it and talk about it. But yeah, we kind of see why Rebecca maybe fell in so deep, because it happened. But I honestly think that this whole date was such a good thing to bring it back full circle. Exactly what he said. I don't want to forget about the past. So I want to just bring it full circle so we can move forward, basically. But he also said a line in there, which our good friend Adam, who is always talking to us on our DMs and talking to us about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Shout out to Adam 07950. He had mentioned his favorite line in that scene was there's always been this feeling of destiny about me and you. You know, like someone out there is telling us a story, telling a story about us. And you mentioned last week about how about if the whole thing at the end is Rebecca creating this live episode on the 18th episode is basically her showing this is really my passion is creating music and creating stories or whatnot. So I feel like your predictions are coming true.
Maybe we'll have to wait till next week to see, I guess. But yeah, I thought this was the perfect date for Josh, but I do think everything revolving around this date showed that Josh is the past.
Ooh, deep. Okay.
I mean, he takes her back to when
My
they're
voice
children.
changed. Did you hear that?
And I think that that's like a good... I think that she has this love for him, and I think that he and her are good together in a sense of children.
Okay.
And I think that that's what that date symbolized.
Wow. That got really deep. I didn't even think about that.
I just felt like, and I'll get into the other ones, I just felt like each date symbolized a different thing.
Different.
And that was this.
Different time of her life, basically.
Not necessarily a different time of her life, but a different thing about each of these guys. And I think that that's what it showed with Josh, was that even though he's grown, he's... their main things, like their main time has always been past. Like everything that she's thought about him has been from when they were young and in love. And even when they got good, it was still like they were children.
Okay, I'm excited to see what you think about Nathaniel then, and Nathaniel and
Well,
Greg's
let's
situation.
get into Nathaniel's date. So Nathaniel takes her to an overlook in LA.
Yes.
You get to see like the whole city.
Right, and
And apparently it's above the Greek theater, where he says, because she's like, oh, I know what you did. You bought tickets and you broke the rules. But no, he found a place that you can hear the Greek theater perfectly. And he thought it was a Michael Bublé concert
but it wasn't.
playing Broadway songs, but it was not. It was Bob. I should have written down
I
the
don't
name.
even remember the name. Yeah.
Something funk, 70s music,
Right.
which apparently Daryl and Hector are also very into. And Nathaniel's kind of getting down on himself about it, and Rebecca kind of is like, no, it's fine. And she kind of brings him back up. They do some dancing, and he kind of says, you know, in every other place and time, I've given you this whole spiel about why I'm the better person, and this time I'm not going to do that. If you're going to pick me, it's going to be for me.
Right. So what do you think? So what does it leave him? Are you still Team Greg at this point? Are you? What's happening now?
I am still Team Greg, and I'll get to that when we get to Greg's kind of date.
So you say all the other guys are their times are in the past.
Well, that was Josh.
That was Josh. So what about Nathaniel?
I think with Nathaniel, it's just he's too much for her. He's always been too much for her.
Too over the top with things.
And that's like, we see that, you know, she had like these 2 great dates, and with this, it was just like this overpowering, like I don't think that she can ever feel like she belongs with Nathaniel, because I don't feel like she'll ever feel good enough for him in the sense of money and all that, especially with her making this decision to not be a lawyer and to take this kind of back road. And I think that that's not really fair to Nathaniel that she'll have that thought, but I kind of feel like that's where she's at.
Okay. So it's so crazy because when I was looking at how her facial reactions were, just how she was towards the end of the date, I didn't get that whatsoever. You know, I didn't see that. I saw somebody who has now another hard decision to make in between.
I don't think she saw that within the date. I think that afterwards.
She's going to realize it.
Well, we kind of saw her. She's kind of freaking out.
A little bit, but they're both over the top. Let's be real.
They're both over the top in different ways.
Yeah, they're both over the top. So I don't know. I personally would cancel Nathaniel out, and in my head it's a Greg and Josh race at the
Potentially. I feel like with Rebecca, she always wants to be the person that outdoes everybody. Like she likes to be wine and dine, but she also wants to be the star. And I think in these things, they kind of overdo her.
She wants to be the star for her own show. Okay.
So let's get into Greg's kind of date. So she's gonna cancel on Greg. Sorry, I had a hair on my microphone. She's kind of feeling too overwhelmed. She's like, I can't go on another perfect date. It's too much stress. It's too much for me. And she's, as we saw in the beginning of this episode, she's been stalking
Dr. Copian.
Dr. Copian. She's like, you know what, I've let go of that part, but I'm still really good at stalking. And she needs advice, and Dr. Copian's like, just follow your heart. And so she's going to cancel with Greg because she's like, I can't.
Right.
Even though I want to spend time with him, even though I like him, I can't do another one of these.
Right.
And she happens to run into Greg. And Greg was feeling the same way, it seemed like, because he was feeling overwhelmed to the fact that he was having to put on this person he wasn't. and he was like, I really like her and I want to be with her, but this isn't me.
Right.
And to compete with these other two guys, this is what I have to do.
I mean, shout out to Weird Al Yankovic, because he was there and he had a little cameo or whatnot. But you saw throughout that whole time, it was so easy to get this balloon, $50 for a hot air balloon. What Groupon is that? I want to know.
I know, right?
Right?
And is someone
manning it? Well, he said, well, I don't know, actually. $50 for you to man your own hot air balloon over Temecula? I don't know about that. But it was so easy. And I think Greg was like trying to pull teeth saying, okay, you have to tell me something else that might make me not want to choose this date, because it seemed just too easy and too perfect. So you could see his uneasiness throughout the whole time. Plus, Greg in a bow tie and a suit just didn't. I mean,
it didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. Yeah, exactly. And his
'Cause
car breaks down.
Even
all
if
these
Greg was
omens.
dressed up, he wouldn't be like in a suit. He'd be like in a nice shirt with some slacks. Like
Right.
that's kind of Greg's fancy.
Definitely. Not a rainbow bow tie for him.
Well, so they kind of agree. Let's cancel this date. She helps him take his car to the mechanic, and they end up ordering delivery.
Yeah.
And just having like a very relaxed, chill time, which is the most Greg.
Yeah. Which I consider the perfect date for Greg and her.
Yeah, that date felt the most like they were actually both being themselves. Like I felt the other two, it was a little bit of like a nervousness. Before before Josh's date, she had to like work herself up
Right.
to go on this date. Before Nathaniel's date, she was kind of still torn with Josh, and then she wasn't expecting. Like, I think she didn't know what to expect with those other two, and I feel like she knows what to expect with Greg.
Or she wasn't even trying.
She didn't have to try.
Yeah.
She could just be herself, and it was fine. He was fine with getting delivered. He's fine with that, and like, that's kind of why I'm leaning towards Greg more at this moment. But I don't know. They could swing it on me.
Exactly. These writers, man.
I don't know. What did you think of Greg's date, though?
I thought that the whole mechanic thing was really cute because she was like, I don't mind waiting with you. Who likes to wait for the DMV, the mechanic, anywhere where you have to wait such a long time? But she didn't mind as long as they were together, and they expressed together that I was hesitant throughout this whole time, but not with being with you. It was just the whole situation. So they agreed, and they made it simple. So I think it went great. I want to consider it a date. I know in the little pool that they have, or the betting ring that they have, they're trying to say it's a push, and they're not going to consider it a date.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's probably the most real date out of all of them.
Right. So let's get into that. So Paula, Heather, Valencia, they all are sitting having breakfast together, and they decide that they're going to weigh in on who they think is going to win. Each one of them is different. Paula's team Josh.
Yes.
Heather, by surprise, is team Nathaniel.
I'm very surprised that Heather's team Nathaniel.
Yeah, I would have thought Valencia would have been team Nathaniel and Heather would have been team Greg.
Exactly.
But Valencia's team Greg. And they decide that they're going to put money down on this. And then everybody in the entire home run decides they're going to put money down on this.
Which is my favorite thing because, like I said, the whole supporting cast was there. From Heather's boss to all the people in the office or whatnot had little parts, and they were all singing together. We saw Paula do her little tap dance and twirl around. I thought it was such a cool moment, and I'm really sad if that is the last big number with everyone in there.
Well, we'll get into that in this portion. But yeah, they're all kind of weighing in, and it turns out that all the boys know about this.
Yeah.
We find out that they're in the know of that this is happening. They just don't seem to care. But yeah, so after Josh's date, he takes the lead. After Nathaniel's date, he takes the lead. The funny thing is that Greg, if you looked at the scoreboard and if you looked at the people around, it didn't seem like Greg was even, besides a few people, in the running from the get-go, which is also why I think he might win, because I feel like they like to have a good underdog.
And they always go to yeah, that's true.
And it's like everyone is counting Greg out at this point.
Ooh.
But I don't know. And they have this huge bet, and like you said, they say if they don't go on this date, because they've been like being able to spy on all these dates.
Right, from a drone to a neighbor, and then to
with Paula being texted.
Right.
With this, it was heaven.
Yeah.
For both of them, and they kind of say if if he doesn't go on this date, no one wins, no one loses.
Right.
In that case, do they all get their money back, or does House keep the money?
In Vegas,
I don't know how it works.
I don't know how a draw works in Vegas. Is there a draw? I don't know. I'm not a big gambler. We should have called Paula and find out. I mean,
Paula, let us know.
I feel like her gambling issue crossed over to this episode, which was really funny or whatnot. But yeah,
well,
I don't know.
See Paula kind of revert. Like she's like, I've learned that her love life is not my amusement. But like then right away,
right,
it like can't keep her tongue.
right. She's like, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up, and that was it. But then Why Joe takes the ring and becomes.
This is fancy. They have like a whole like electric board. Like, did they take that
Everything.
from the baseball field? Like, where is that from?
I feel like they've had it and they've just been waiting to use it. Like, it's been in the stock room. They're like, you know what? Here's a good time to use this, and somebody could potentially win a lot of money. So if somebody were to vote for Greg or bet on Greg, they would win a lot of money.
Which would be Valencia. She put $600 down on Greg.
Right. What did she sell? Makeup, like third-party makeup or whatnot to people. Yeah, she went all in.
We also learn that she has to make this decision by next week, which is Valentine's Day.
That's the Valentine's Day we were talking about a couple months ago when we thought there was no way.
So they have not moved in time. They have stayed back in time through this hiatus that we've had, I guess, and it is Valentine's Day.
And Dr. Akopian mentions it too, a little Easter egg at the end. Like, I know it's been like about a month away from the holidays, but I still want this peppermint mocha or whatever she ordered, which is pretty funny because now it's warm in LA again.
Finally.
Finally. And it is not raining anymore.
Yeah. So that's kind of like where we're at, and I don't know what to expect from this last episode. We'll get to that in predictions. The one thing we did leave out was the fact that the other thing Greg tried to do was get on Paula's good side by poaching 60 salmons for her.
Because he just wanted to help. But
that
Paula's
was kind of a weird
like,
little side storyline.
That was funny though. But I think because Greg didn't have a thing about like you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that.
I mean, even the storyline of the fact that she's Tommy's
something,
like baseball something or other, and everyone has to sign up, and she gets the last pick, which is salmon.
Every mom had to do it on the team.
I know. Yeah. I think it was just a weird throw in to be like, I felt like they were like, we need Greg to have to do something for her. What can we have him do? I don't know.
We need Greg to have a problem or something he has to deal with because the other two did. So that was it. He has to be in Paula's good graces, but it's going to take more than 7 to do that. And she says it herself. But 60 salmons for 60 people, that's a good meal prep right there. Yeah. That's perfect. Mm-hmm.
And actually, I found something I want to pull up during our special segment. I'm sorry, Josh, if we don't have enough time. Josh is our amazing producer in the booth, but I'm going to send this photo over just in case we do have enough time to pull it up.
Nice. Well, while you're doing that really quick, hey guys, before we move on to the next topic, we just wanted to say thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. For us to continue to grow, we could use your help. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube, give us a rating on iTunes, and leave us a comment or interact with us like our friend Adam, who always talks to us on our DMs about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. We would love to talk to you guys about that. Being a part of AfterBuzz TV means so much to me, and it does to Bria as well too. So thank you so much for supporting us and letting us do what we love to do.
Yes, you guys, it really does mean a lot to us, and giving us those 5 stars on iTunes, giving us this thumb up, giving us comments in this section. Like he said, it not only keeps you a part of the conversation, but it also keeps us on the air for you guys. So the more you guys can do for us, the more we can do for you. So keep tuning in, not just for this show, but for every show on all of our different channels. And we love seeing you.
Yeah, because although Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is on its series finale, we have more after shows to come.
Yeah, more comedy shows if that's your thing. Veep starting back up. We also have Fosse Verdon is going to be coming up if the musical scene is what you're into.
There you go. And if you like reality TV, I'm on there all the time. So come check that channel out as well, too.
So let's get into our first special segment, which is the songs of this episode. Sorry. Yes.
Beautiful.
So we had 3 songs this episode, and kind of 2, because one was a reprise of the first one. So we had Love's Not a Game, which was a very Guys and Dolls feeling song.
I loved it. It was such a big production, too.
It was, and they had the whole thing decked out. We also found out that there's a death poll for Josh, and he's going to die parasailing at the age of 50.
I mean, that's action sports related, and he's kind of that type of guy. That could happen. That could possibly happen.
But they're basically, it's the whole betting, them all starting to bet on the game, and they have this huge number. They're all in like very Rat Packy looking clothes, and it's definitely a callback to Guys and Dolls.
I love it so much. Yeah, I think it's a riff between Guys and Dolls. Even the Vulture said it as well too. You're a big Broadway fan, you would know definitely. Josh did mention on his IG story on Friday that this is the only number that he's ever regretted not being able to be in, because it was so big.
Because they couldn't have the 3 of them or Rachel.
Rachel in there.
But everybody else was in this number, and I do have a picture that this was the last original cast
Oh, Rachel tweeted
number.
it out.
Rachel
see.
tweeted it out with everybody in the photo that was in it, and saying it's the last original one. Which meaning I'm guessing that because the 18th episode is the musical spectacular,
Right.
they're gonna have group numbers in that they've already done.
Right. I'm so excited to see that.
And then we also had the reprise of this, which Rebecca sings as she's just like, I'm done with these games.
Right.
I'm done with trying to play these games to figure out love.
Said Rebecca.
As she walks up to Greg. Is
And
that
then-
foreshadowing?
Is that foreshadowing? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Because Greg is the only one that has never played games with her.
I want to
He's
say.
always told her like it is.
Like I want to say, I like it. It just everything seems to point to Greg, but the way they write, they do things. I feel like it could just be spun really quick, and all of a sudden, we don't get what we want.
We'll have to wait and see until next week. And then the last one we got was a reprise of Where's the Bathroom, called There's No Bathroom, sung by Weird Al Yankovic. Letting them all know that there is no bathroom in the hot air balloon.
And it is hard to get poop out of wicker.
And do not pee or poop in the hot air balloon.
Exactly. It's hard to get poop out the
It was
wicker.
a fun little song.
It's a fun little
It was a
song.
nice callback to season 1.
Right. Him pulling out his accordion just made me happy.
And you knew that as soon as you saw him, like, you knew he was going to sing a song.
He had to sing a song. If he didn't sing a song, that would be blasphemous.
But we only had one real full-length song in this episode,
Yeah.
and those were two both short little reprises, like they were under a minute.
Right.
So that was interesting.
There's a lot of story to go through. I'm pretty sure they were like, okay, we got to
Yeah.
do something. But
I'm just like
can't be
wondering
that
because I
long.
know that I'm trying to remember that they said, and I should have done all of this before I came in here today. But Rachel said at some point how many original songs there was going to be by the end of the season
Altogether.
altogether.
I mean, there were a whole bunch of articles where it was, if you guys Google the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend songs, trying to pick which is the best one, but that's really hard for people, obviously, because there were so many.
I feel like I could do it per season. This was my favorite from season 1, 2, 3,
Really?
4.
Okay, that makes sense. But overall, if you were,
Let's do that for next week.
Okay.
Let's try to bring in our favorite. Let's try to figure out if we have a favorite overall, but at least our favorite from each season.
I'm down with
Okay.
that. Okay.
And you guys at home can do that too if you want. And so if you're in our live chat, you can chime in with us there as
Yes.
well. Make it a little fun. I'm trying to see. As of January, they had 101. I want to say there's like around 130 something is what she said.
That is crazy.
That there's going to be by the end of it, meaning next episode.
Can you imagine? That's a genius right there, being able to write all that. That's insane. They should put out like a whole best of or Crazy Ex-Girlfriend soundtrack, like a special. You know what I'm talking about? Like a whole like discography of everything.
They put out
one
albums
they
for
have
each season.
Yeah, but putting it all together like a little, goodbye to West Covina. Ye old West Covina. That was one of my favorites.
That was a good one. Okay, well, let's get into our second special segment called the Rebecca Bunch Crazy Meter. This is a segment where we kind of break down on a scale of 1 to 10 how crazy she was this episode. And you guys can do this at home too and chime in either in the comments if you're not watching this live or in our live chat if you are. So what are you going to give her this week?
I'm going to break the seal and give her like a -3 because I don't think she was crazy at all. She was just emotional, and it was hard for her because there were decisions to be made and figuring out where her heart lies. I mean, yes, she was bothering Dr. Akopian a little bit, but you would want to talk to your therapist about these decisions if you had one and, you were able to do so. I don't think she was that crazy to me. So, like, I can't even give her a scale from 0 to 1. I want to give her something in the negatives. I go -3.
Okay.
I stand by what I say.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm going to give her a 1.
Okay.
Maybe a 2
Okay.
for stalking Dr. Akopian.
For stalking Dr. Akopian.
Yeah. Because even like her little like lean out,
Right.
that was a little creepy and crazy.
Okay, a little creepy, yes.
And the fact and her leaving, how she kept like being awkward as she was leaving, like singing, I'm like a little kid singing this chair. And
Where is that? I want to go to that cafe.
that cafe?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, those were just a little weird things that I was like,
Okay.
okay, she deserves at least 1 or 2 for
Okay.
this.
-1. All right. I'll bust it up a little bit.
Let's get into our news and gossip.
All right.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so there's a little bit of news. This aired right after Friday's episode, but they had a little docuseries called "Oh My God, I Think It's Over," where they kind of put together a whole little recap of the story of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and just how everything went or whatnot. But they also showed up recently because the GLAAD Awards just happened a couple days ago. The cast came together and they showed up for the GLAAD Awards because they were nominated. Unfortunately, they did lose, but it was nice to see them all together once again.
Very nice. Also, I did look it up. It says that they will have more than 150 original songs by the time the show is ended.
That is nuts.
I'm trying to see because I looked up this article about how Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is ending. And it does say, this is on E! News, and it says, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend's going out with a big finish. The series finale is going to be on April 5th, which we know. And then it's going to be followed by the special.
Right.
It says, the songwriters of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend have written more than 150 outstanding songs in our 4 seasons. It is unprecedented contribution to the American songbook. I'm so thrilled we could have shared these songs with the world in spontaneous format that is really showcases their humor and genius. That was Eileen Brosh McKenna, the other creator of the show. And so they're going to perform all of this in the concert special. And by the end of the show, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, that's what it says, the song number again, Bloom stars in the series. In addition to Bloom, the final cast also includes Vincent Rodriguez, such as, so it doesn't really give us how it's ending besides the fact that we have the concert special and there'll be over 150
I guess I can
songs.
wait one more week, but the 150 songs is crazy.
That's a little too teasy, though, to be like, this is how it is ending.
I know, they want you to click. That's some good clickbait right there.
But at least it gave us the answer to the song, over 150.
But just imagine, some artists who are out right now don't even have 150 songs that are out. They may have written some, but they've never been out to the public.
This within 4 years.
4 seasons, 4 years.
And that was her. I would think it's her and 2 other people wrote the songs.
That's amazing. That's crazy.
I don't know what she did. Like, how did she sleep?
She didn't. She
was show running this, starring in it, writing the scripts, writing the songs, performing the songs. So that means that you have to not only record the songs, but also do all of the rehearsal for the dancing and the singing.
Well, they talked a little about in the short clip of the documentary where they were doing everything at one point and it seems like everything was going fine, but then something happened, had to put out fires here, blah, 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 because they were doing it all together.
Well, I also read that every time she wrote a song, so she would write, like, her and her team would write the song, then they would give it to one person on their team who was like you can't do this for CW.
Right.
Let's rewrite it. Rewrite the song, then give it to CW and let CW either approve it or they'd have to rewrite it because they were dealing with so much stuff in it that were a little...
Right. This wasn't Showtime.
This wasn't Showtime.
Yeah.
So a lot of her songs started off way too dark or way too intense and they had to dial it back.
Well, they would write the song, they would record it the next day, and it would be ready for filming next week, which is crazy.
And then so you had a week's worth of rehearsals of dancing.
This kind of reminds me of, and she had him during the Cats episode, which was Todrick Hall, who used to do the same thing, where he put out YouTube content where he would write the song, he would record it the next day, and they would film it the next day. Like, it's that quick and that fast.
It's
Only a couple people can do that.
How much talent she has.
That's
and
crazy.
I'm so excited to see what she does next. And she hasn't. I mean, she gave little clues here and there of like things she may or may not do.
Right.
But
I'm excited to see what she does on what they do on the live special.
I just feel like she's so underrated and she deserves a lot more than what she got a Golden Globe and obviously the president of the CW said I'm keeping this on the air because it is such an important show to have. But it's, even if you look at the numbers for the show, like it doesn't get the amount of people watching that it should have watching.
Oh, definitely not. Because I guess it is for just some people don't give it a chance like it's on Netflix. We don't see those Netflix numbers. And every time it gets on Netflix, it always is on the trending page for Netflix. So
even when you talk about it in like your daily conversation, there's so many people that I know that I'm like, you would love this show and they don't watch it.
Right.
And I know that there's a lot of television out there. So obviously it's competing against a lot more. Like maybe in a different era, this would have done a lot better than it did. But it's so smart and it's so well put together and it's silly and quirky and I hope that, past this, people finally start to give it the recognition it deserves.
It's funny because I feel like it's one of those, like when paintings don't get more expensive until the artist dies or something is over or whatnot. Maybe this might be the same case for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and it could be found later on.
Yeah,
I just recently did that with a show on Hulu. That was on ABC and it was on Hulu now called Selfie. That was only on for 1 season, and I was like, "This is so good."
It's like Freaks and Geeks. Like Freaks and Geeks was such a good show, and it got like 1 season, I believe, is all it had, and it didn't get renewed. And now people are like, "Oh my god! Like, how did this show not get more seasons?" Because at the time, people didn't watch it.
Right. You never know.
You never know.
We'll see what happens in 10 years. Call me.
Let's get into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
What are your predictions for this last episode, Nino?
So, all fingers seem to point to Greg. your man Greg. But I feel like that could turn in any second, and it's gonna go back to Josh. I'm still canceling out Nathaniel, and I don't think that's gonna happen. He was there at the right time for her, and she needed him when she needed him. But I feel like the battle is gonna go between Josh and Greg, and I think Josh might still win. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're looking at me so crazy right now. I don't know what you're gonna say. So
No, I mean, I still do think it's Greg in the end. I'm with you that Nathaniel is out.
yeah, it's the obvious choice, but which is good. Two sides. We'll see who wins. You want to put some money on it? We'll see. Yeah,
We're not Paula. We can't.
We're
do
not
this.
Paula. Okay, fine. All right.
But we can put our word on it.
Okay.
And maybe we'll go get lunch afterwards, and
I'll bring you a cupcake or something if
the loser buys or something.
I'll do that. Okay, great. Okay.
All right, we have it on air,
On air,
record,
right?
that we
Josh.
Greg.
All right. There we go.
And then I do still think my other thing that she's going to find out, like she's going to come to the realization with her life, what she wants to do, which is write her own musical.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be season 18. I mean, season 18. It's going to be episode 18.
Season 18. We're going to prolong this show for
We're going
many
to
more
be
seasons.
a Big Bang Theory. Yes, that's what's going to happen.
They're only 10, right?
No,
11?
I think they're past that now. Yeah.
Well, this is their last season, right?
They're almost out. Yeah, and they've been on for quite a long
Quite
time.
some time.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let us know if you have any predictions for the final episode of the show in our comments below. And, again, rate, comment, subscribe to us, iTunes, Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Keep tuning into all of our content. And until next week, where can they find you?
Hey guys, it's your boy Nino, and you can find me at Nino Llanera on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I have a new show here on AfterBuzz. It's starting tomorrow. It's on my block after show at 6 p.m.
And you guys can find me at Bri_Phipps, Phipps on Twitter and Instagram. And until next week, we will be right back here for the season finale. We'll see you then.
Bye guys.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.